Jason from Pro Guitar Studio. Welcome back. Today we're going to be focusing on minor arpeggios. And I'm just going to show you one shape, although it might be a bit of work if you haven't done this before. So we're going to first talk about what an arpeggio is. We're going to talk about how I'm going to construct this arpeggio, and then we're going to learn the phrase that I just played a moment ago. But let's dive right in here and look at my guitar. So an arpeggio is a chord. If we take, let's say, an A minor, right? I'll do an A minor bar chord. If we play those notes separately, that is called an arpeggio versus just strumming the chord, right? So essentially an arpeggio can be what we call a broken chord, or a chord played one note at a time. So if we're playing rhythm guitar, we can play chords and arpeggiate them, and that's still an arpeggio. But on the lead guitar side of things, we like to do notes one at a time. So instead of letting them all ring out, we want to play them separately. Right, so we're trying to hear the notes in the chord as a separate entity. So if you were, let's say, a horn player, all the notes you'd play would be played separately anyway. So an arpeggio would sound different on a, let's say, a saxophone versus when we're strumming the guitar and the notes are ringing out. So on the piano, you can still get the chords where you arpeggiate them and they ring out. But for other instruments, if you're playing them one note at a time, we're just going to hear one of those arpeggio notes at a time, and that's the focus of what we're doing here today. So we're going to focus on lead guitar arpeggios versus rhythm guitar arpeggios. Or that's the way I like to think about it, right? So rhythm guitar arpeggios, where they ring out, versus lead guitar, that kind of stuff, right? So we're going to play an A minor arpeggio to start off, and this is a 3-note minor arpeggio. So we're just doing a regular triad, and what I mean by that is we're going to play the notes in the A minor chord. So the A minor chord, if you looked at down here, consists of only 3 notes, although it looks like a lot more. But in that chord, we have an A, a C, and an E note. So to play those up here, we're going to start on the 5th fret, string number 6, or the 5th fret on the low E string with my first finger. And then the 8th fret with my pinky finger, that's going to be the C note. So we have the A and the C note on fret number 8. And then we're going to go to the E note, which is fret number 7 on string 5, okay? Now you could take that arpeggio and basically just repeat it each octave, but we're going to play it in one position. So we're going to go A, C, E, and the next A note is on the 7th fret of the D string, and then the C note is the 5th fret of the G string, or string number 3. E again on fret number 5 of the 2nd string, A again, fret number 5 of the E string, or the high E, and then C, fret number 8 on the 1st string. So from the bottom we have 5, 8, and then 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, 8. So the 6th string and the 1st string get doubled up in terms of notes. Now, note names, A, C, E, A, C, E, A, C. All right, that's our arpeggio. So the phrase that I built was just based on that arpeggio shape. And all I did was change the rhythm up. I'm not really doing anything crazy here. Just trying to make it so it has some kind of flow to it. It sounds more musical than just playing. Which you could do, no problem there. And then when I first play these arpeggios, that's how I practice them. But what I did here is I played up, right? And then I came down to the 5th fret, string number 1, and let that note ring out twice as long. So imagine you think of these as 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. And then we're going to play the last 3 notes. That's an 8th note at the end, yeah. So the 2 slower notes are the 5th fret, string number 1, and the 5th fret, string 2 the second time you play them. And the very last note gets rung up for twice as long as the rest of them. Again, an 8th note. All right, now we'll go up to fret number 10, and we're going to do the same shape. So this is a D minor arpeggio, D minor triad arpeggio. We're going to go 10, 13, 12, 12, 10, 10, 10, 13 on string number 1. We have D, F, A, D, F, A, D, F. So almost similar, we'll say here. But what we're going to do here, we're going to play up this arpeggio. And then we're going to slide up 2 frets, and we're going to play down the E minor arpeggio. So it's the same thing, same shape, but in terms of the fret numbers, we're going to play down fret number 12 on string 1, 12, 12 on string 3, and then 14, 14 on string number 4 and 5. Timing-wise, what I did is I went up the arpeggio, the first one, the same way as I did before. Then here I played 3 notes fast. I guess that third note there, the 12th fret string number 3, is going to be our 8th note. And then the next note, 2 notes are 8th notes as well. So just changing the ending so it doesn't sound so monotonous. So the first one, then. All right, so we're switching the arpeggio shape from D minor, E minor. So you get that shape under your fingers, even if you just practice it on the 5th fret first. So you can move it up. And here. And then we apply the timing in the weird switch where we go ascending on D minor, descending on E minor. That's better, there we go. And then, so those arpeggios there, the 3-note arpeggios, are just 3 notes each, but it sounds like a lot more because we're playing up through, we're into 3 octaves, right? So there's a lot happening there, but really good for your fingers. So you might wonder like why you'd want to use this. Well, the simple answer is that if you were trying to solo or make a lead guitar line, and someone's playing an A minor chord, the safest bet is the arpeggio, because all those notes there do work over top of the chord. When we're playing a scale, not all the notes will sound good, so we have a thing of tension versus release. So the tension would be the notes that are adding dissonance, right? So notes that are not in the chord. Release would be the notes that are actually in the chord. So when we play through that arpeggio, all the notes are going to sound good. So really it's the safest route to play if you don't know what to play on top of a particular chord, right? And sometimes chords happen pretty fast in a chord progression, and you just want to make sure you make something that sounds good or play something that sounds good. So the arpeggio will be a good choice. Although you might feel like you want to mix it in with other notes, and that's totally cool too. So once you get this shape down, messed that part up there, but you get the idea. When you go through this arpeggio, we might not want to play them all at the same time, just up and down. Usually I wouldn't do that in a piece of music, right? So unless you're adding some kind of flavor on top, as a melody, I wouldn't want to stick to just the arpeggio. So what I'd usually do is mix it in. And I'm just doing half arpeggio, half scale. This is an idea, right? There's many ways you can look at that, but I also like to look at that arpeggio as a way to know which notes are in a particular chord. So when I see a chord coming up, I can slide into the notes of the arpeggio and then actually highlight the other notes in the scale as well. So you'd have the arpeggio notes plus adding the other notes from the scale just to pull it all together and add that tension in. So a lot you can do here with arpeggios. I'm trying to make it really simple, maybe not easy, but simple, by just taking one shape and getting you to play something with that. But this is the minor shape on the 6-string root. There are many ways to play this, and this is just one way, okay? So this will hopefully give you a first way to get into these arpeggio shapes. And then from there, if you want to know more, feel free to let me know in the comments below. We can dive into different patterns, different shapes, different ways to play them. And I like to attack things like this in from many different angles, because if you just know one shape, it can sort of limit you in terms of what you can do with it. But we can learn all kinds of different ways to play these, and it's a lot of fun. So hope you enjoyed this. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos like this each week, and I'll see you soon.